Hi everyone, I would like to start by greeting all of you in the name of the United Republic of Tanzania. Napenda kuwasalimu nyote kwa jina la Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Karibu sana. Today we are going to discuss on the United Republic of Tanzania chapter 80, cap 80, which is the Civil Aviation Act, the principal legislation that regulates the civil aviation industry in the United Republic of Tanzania. Yours is Maximilian Filbert. You are most welcome to be with me in this discussion. Disclaimer. This presentation is solely intended for educational purpose and it does not replace any part or any document of the United Republic of Tanzania and or Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority, TCAA. We kick off our discussion by looking at the meaning of the Civil Aviation Act itself. The Civil Aviation Act, this is the written document or the law that regulates the civil aviation industry in the United Republic of Tanzania. The Civil Aviation Act is there to make provisions to enable the effect to be given to the Chicago Convention. We'll shortly understand what is the Chicago Convention and how it came about. Also, the Civil Aviation Act provides for the control, regulation, and orderly development of the civil aviation in the country. And it gives the provisions to establish the regulatory authority in relation to the air transport, aeronautical air services, and air navigation services. The Chicago Convention. From the previous slide, we have discussed that the Civil Aviation Act of the United Republic of Tanzania make provisions to enable the effects to be given to the Chicago Convention. So it is very important here we understand what is the Chicago Convention and where it came about. The Chicago Convention, which is also known as the Convention on the International Civil Aviation, is an agreement that established the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO. The ICAO was established to make core principles and practices for the international air transportation. So the ICAO is as the United Nations agency that regulates the international air travel, and it has its headquarters in Montreal, Canada. The purpose of the Chicago Convention was to establish the rules for the international air travel, to promote cooperation between nations, and to create and preserve friendship and understanding among the nations. When the Chicago Convention was signed in Chicago on December 7th, 1944, it was signed by the 52 states, and but it didn't come in effect on the spot. It came into effect in April 4th, 1947, and from then the member states have been increasing, and up to now, as of 31st January 2025, there were 193 member states in the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO. The Chicago Convention has also provided the understanding of the international community of the sovereignty of the airspace above each state's territory. It has also established the 5 freedoms that govern the operation of air transport flights across, into, and within other states' airspace. Also, the Chicago Convention has led to the exempted air fuel from tax. The Chicago Convention have had numerous achievements, but those we can quickly look at include the convention has led to the development of global air transport network, and the convention has 19 annexes, which include 12,000 international standards and recommended practices. Important thing to note on here is that United Republic of Tanzania became the ICAO member on May 23rd, 1962. The United Republic of Tanzania, Chapter 80, the Civil Aviation Act, which is in place at the moment, was published on the 2nd of October 2020, and it includes several parts, almost 16 parts. Part 1 is about preliminary provision. Part 2 is the Civil Aviation Technical Committee. Part 3, regulations of civil aviation. I will not mention all the parts, but we can see other parts like Part 9, which is the Tanzanian Civil Aviation Authority, and Part 10, which is the powers and the proceedings of the authority. And quickly, when you look at the last part, which is Part 16, it speaks about transitional and the miscellaneous provisions. Part 1 of this act is about preliminary provisions. The preliminary provisions gives us where this act will apply, and it is that the Civil Aviation Act shall apply to the mainland Tanzania as well as to Tanzania Zanzibar. In this preliminary part, which is the Part 1, there are interpretation of various terms used throughout this document. I will not go through them. For your interest, you can visit the document, the Civil Aviation Act, Chapter 80, Cap 80, and study those definitions, the interpretations of various terms for your benefit. Thank you. Part 2, the Civil Aviation Technical Committee. There shall be established a technical committee to be known as the Civil Aviation Technical Committee. The chairman of this committee will be the Director General of the Tanzanian Civil Aviation Authority, or as referred to as the authority. And the Director General, as the chairman of this committee, is the one who will appoint other members of this committee. The committee shall regulate its own proceedings, and we have a responsibility of advising the Director General on the technical aspects of civil aviation. Part 3, regulations of civil aviation. General powers to make regulations. The Civil Aviation Act gives the minister responsible for the matters relating to civil aviation the powers and the responsibility to make regulations of civil aviation. The minister may in consultation with the authority, which is the Tanzanian Civil Aviation Authority, make the following regulations relating to the civil aviation. He or she can make regulations for air navigation and the economic regulations of air transport services. He may also give effect to the Cargo Convention and annexes and the end of the Civil Aviation Convention, to which the United Republic of Tanzania is a party. Also, he may make regulations regarding to aircraft licensing, registration and markings of aircraft in the United Republic of Tanzania, prohibiting the flying of any aircraft. He may also make regulations for licensing of personnel in relation to operation and maintenance of aircraft. He may make regulations for aviation training organizations. He may make regulations to provide for measures to safeguard the international and the domestic civil aviation against acts of unlawful interference. He is also entitled prescribing the fees to be paid in respect to the issue, validation, renewal, extension, or variation of any certificate or licenses or other document. The document for the Civil Aviation Act highlights many other matters that the minister responsible for civil aviation may make regulations for for more of them, you can visit and see what are hazards that the minister responsible for civil aviation can make regulations. Now let us see who may compound any offense committed under this Civil Aviation Act or regulations made from it, and to where the fines will be directed to. Before that, it is imperative to understand that different regulations may be made for different classes of aircraft, aerodromes, or property or categories of persons, and for the different parts of the United Republic of Tanzania. Okay, now it is that any employee of the authority authorized by name in that behalf by the Director General, or any police officer not below the rank of the inspector, specifically authorized by name in that behalf by the minister, may compound an offense under this Civil Aviation Act or regulations made from the Civil Aviation Act. And all the fines imposed for any offense under this Civil Aviation Act or regulations made from it shall be paid to the funds of the authority, which is the Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority. Part 4. Aerodromes and obstructions. Indication of presence of obstruction. There can be elevated buildings, structures, or erections that are a hazard to safe and efficient navigation of aircraft around the vicinity of the airport or the aerodrome. So the warning to the aircraft of the presence of such hazardous elevated buildings, structure, or erection should be provided. In regard to this, the Director General may order, authorize, and require the owner or officer in charge of an aerodrome and any person acting on his behalf or any person acting on behalf of the Director General to execute, install, maintain, operate, repair, and alter such running to be given in a manner as specified in the order. Also, the Director General may grant in the order to enter and pass over with or without a vehicle on any such a land in order to execute the order. The Civil Aviation Act of the United Republic of Tanzania requires that the minister responsible for the civil aviation shall, pending the appointment of the members of the board and the Director General of the authority, that the authority is the Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority, perform the functions and exercise powers vested in the board and or the Director General. And in performing of the functions or the exercises of the powers of the board or the Director General, the minister may, by the order published in the Gazette, designate a public authority or the public officer to perform the functions or exercise the powers of the board or the Director General. Trespassing at aerodrome. Any owner or officer in charge of the aerodrome or airport shall ensure that no person or animal trespasses on any land forming part of an aerodrome. And to effect that, he shall ensure that the notices warning trespassers are posted so as to be readily seen and read by the members of the public. Thank you very much. Kindly like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And don't miss the second module of this discussion. You're welcome. And thank you very much. Asante sana. Karibu.